I fractured my leg and got infected. So it's been a war. I'm telling you guys, it was a war to be able to do this because they were like, no, we need to go in now. But I had a commitment, and I wanted to make sure I did that commitment with you guys. So I'm happy to be here. As long as I'm out of pain, we're good. We're gonna be good. So right now I'm comfortable, ready to rock and roll. We're gonna jump right into it because I have to be off at 1:15, and I don't want to miss anything. I want to give two quick disclaimers. This is not one of those webinars where at the end there's some sales pitch. This is 100% content, and it's going to be in your face. We're going to rock and roll. I definitely am not a guru. I call myself a student of the game, but I always say to people, I have a book of failures. I've run some businesses. They failed, and I have a book of failures. My mentor always told me, I wish someone would write that book, the book of failures. You get the success stories, but nobody wants to talk about the failures. So within this presentation, I'll give you some of those, and I'm going to show you some things that have affected my life and got me started. So without further ado, I'm going to get rid of this screen, and we're going to dive right in. Hold on. So I title this section, I call it action, and it is an acronym because we're going to go through each section. Today, we're only going to go through acknowledgement. The reason being is that's mainly about you, and it's going to take the most time. The rest of it will fly through. It's going to be about a 4-part series. So action, and as Tom said, what my purpose is on this webinar is for you to tap into the limited power you may unknowingly possess. I will say now, guys, I do talk a little fast. I'm from an island family, so I will try to slow it down for you, but we're going to go right
You
into it,
talk
okay?
beautifully. Every time I hear James talk, I love listening to him. So
We're going to dive right in, guys.
You
So
can definitely hear the passion in your.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So A stands for acknowledgement, and acknowledgement starts with you. So we're going to call it self-acknowledgement. And the question most people ask is, why is that important? Let me tell you, when I talk to anybody in business, the first thing I say is the business you create starts with you. It reflects your good and bad habits in one big package called your business. So if you're sloppy, your business is going to be sloppy because you're going to give sloppy direction, and that's all people are going to do. They're going to follow what you say and follow your example, and you should expect nothing less. So everything you do leads back to you. So my main question for you guys today, and it's very important to me, who did Tom's original task? And I'm going to put up on the screen. It was Tom's challenge was 50,000 feet purpose and principles, 40,000 feet vision, and 30,000 feet goals. And I'm going to have Tom come in because I know there's a lot of new people on this webinar. So I've asked Tom to briefly go over that one time so you guys understood what that project was. And then I'm going to get some of the people on the panel. I think there's Ron, Vince. I have the list in Skype for you guys, but I want to bring some of the panel on to see if they've done it also. So Tom, I'll turn it over to you.
all right, well, guys, I mean, before we talk about this, the reason why we do this is because, your purpose and your principles, your vision and your goals is you need to know who you are and what direction you want to go in life before you really even start being a leader and being a mover and shaker and making your business happen for you. So I actually got this out of a book called Getting Things Done. Can't remember who's the guy, but when I read that book, it really sunk into me, and I was like, he just used the analogy. It's like the pilot analogy. 50,000 feet is your purpose and principles. Okay, that's what you're on the planet for. I mean, that your purpose and your principles. That's just how you go about living your life. Okay, maybe you call it the rules in your brain, or you call it it's just who you are. Okay, and if then you zoom into 40,000 feet, your purpose and your principles. So if you have a purpose to change health on the planet or transform, Unlimited Education has a purpose to transform and bring more authenticity to business around the world and remove corruption. Okay, that's one of the big purposes we have. Your purpose and your principles, if you move into 40,000 feet, actually dictates your vision. Does that make sense, guys? It actually dictates your vision. Just put a yes in the chat box. And your vision is, what you're out there to do. It's your big game that you want to play in life. We all have this game called life, and it's what you envision to happen. Steve Jobs envisioned to have a personal device that could fit 1,000 songs on one little device and fit it in your pocket. Okay, that was his vision, and it came true. Okay, and every businessman has a vision. Okay, and if you lead from these, your personal principles, your vision, and then eventually your goals, that is how you don't need to sell in business. That's how you just achieve things. You become a mover and a shaker. And your vision actually dictates your goals. Okay, And your goals are your rules of measurement, how you measure your success in the game of life, in the game of your business, in the game of whatever you're out there to achieve. Does that make sense, guys? And your goals can be a business, it can be projects, and then if you zoom in actually further, that's when you actually start getting into your maps and being on the ground level, on being on the runway and actually achieving all this and living your purpose and your vision and your dreams and everything. Does that make sense? So I feel like I've summed it up pretty nice. So that's why, in the past, I've tried to do businesses and doing this without who I am. I end up going around circles, being that 3-second fish. But as soon as I started getting into this, who I became, I got to know myself. Okay, so if you like this, you can do a map for every single one. Purpose and principles. Do a map for your vision and do a map for your goals. You set it out any way you want. I've done it on a document, any way you want. So that's why we focus on this. So go for it, James.
Not a problem. And so I put in there, if you haven't done the exercise, do it. It's probably the most important thing you can do for yourself. It's going to be a major growth pattern for you. Honestly, when this first came out, when Tom brought this up, it was the first time that I heard it broke down this way. And it's one of the things that made me stay on and made me stay on with the UIE. Since we're at a kind of pause, is there any questions, Maria, before I go on? Does anybody have any questions so far?
No, there's no questions. I've got a couple of them that have done it, that have said they've done it. Lots and lots of yes and lots of participation with everybody. Thanks, guys. Love it.
Thank you all so much. So, listen, it's simple. You have to do this for yourself. And there was one passage in the book that we're going to talk about later on that says, you can't control anybody else but yourself. And we spend so much time on everybody else but ourselves. And you have to do it for you. And here's the typical things I hear, the typical excuse I hear, well, I don't have time. I work a 9 to 5. So I asked somebody the other day, so if your boss came to you and said, hey, if you will do this training at home, I'll give you a $10,000 raise, how many would do it? Well, majority of the people will. I'll wait for that response. How many of you, if your boss came to you and said, I'll give you a $10,000 raise if you'll go home and do some self-study, who's going to do it?
It's interesting. I had a similar mindset when I was first starting out.
What we're getting, Maria?
I am getting absolutely yes, oh yes, yeah, everyone, me for sure, yep, done, yes, 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 so absolutely, everybody said they would.
If you would, job may not be there tomorrow. Everybody who keeps their life based on this job is going to take care of me. That's not its purpose or principle. Its purpose or principle is to make money, and you will be expendable when they decide that day. Now, you may last for a long time, and you may not. There's people on here who come on and testify to, hey, I don't know if I have a job tomorrow. So invest that time in you. There's Audible books now. You could make your drive to work your university. Dedicate that time to you. Breaks. If you work in America and you have a 9 to 5, that means you get an hour for lunch, 2 15-minute breaks. So take that time. If not just one of those 15-minute breaks, take that time to develop yourself. Because before you can have a business, you have to know where you stand. Weekends. If you work in America, you work a 9 to 5, you usually get weekends off. Some don't, some do. If you have the weekends off, hey, spend some time on you, because you are the most important thing you have. TV, I put TV on here because people do watch a lot of it, and they watch a ton of it. Why don't you cancel one TV show and spend that 30 minutes on you? That's just a challenge for you. It's something that I've had to do for myself in my development, so I'm throwing that out there for you guys, okay? Moving on. If you're at the point where you don't know, if you just don't know what you want to do, I've recommended these 2 books because these 2 books have changed my life, and one more than the other. All right, so I really recommend these books, and I'm gonna let them tell the story themselves. Okay.
James, while you're there, I just want to share that
Slide
I've lived by the slight edge as well. I truly believe that.
And you know, it's funny. Tom has introduced those concepts to us when he said 5
Yeah.
tasks a day. But the Slide Edge is not. It's just not another personal development book. It's an entirely new way of thinking, a way of processing
Right.
information that enables you to make simple daily choices that will lead to your success and happiness you desire. It's not another motivational method. You must learn in order to travel the path to success. It shows you how to create powerful results from daily activities of life. the Slide Edge talks about the compound effect, how things over time become big things. And I've noticed when we start mapping out businesses in these webinars, people start saying, wait, hold on, that's too much. And I get it because we're giving you the quantum leap. But if you would take it and chop it into 5 things a day, and you do it 5 days a week, that's 25 things you've done at the end of the week. So at the end of the month, you've done 100 things. It's the compound effect. Don't look at the quantum leap. That's what we always look at. Oh my God, it's so hard to get there. Start somewhere. And if you can't do 5, do 2, but do something for you. Now, in this book, I might get emotional because this book did a lot for me. I lost everything. I was sitting on a couch. I would walk to the bathroom, and this book was in the bathroom. It's ironic that it was in the bathroom. And I'd walk by it 100 times. But this book, if you were just at the point in life where you just don't know what to do and you're lost, this book, for me, brought me back. It says, imagine if the dream you have could actually come true. If you could escape the life that you currently live and instead live the life of your dreams. If you could accomplish the things you desire, if you could make the kind of money you want, if you could have successful relationships, what it would be like to have no goal go unfulfilled, what it would be like to know how to stay motivated all the time. This book is written solely to help you learn what the successful already know, how to turn your dreams into reality. And I'm telling you, after reading this book, I took action. I started my company, RoofersNow.com. Before then, I did nothing. I sat on the couch and I was torn down because I just had my business partner take my company and I was done. I was like, I'm tired of creating. How many original ideas can I have? And this book made it plain, made it easy, and made me start moving in a direction. Ooh, I'm sorry. Bring that back. Okay.
James, I want to share. Dave has talked about who we are is more important than what we do. What we do is more important than we have. When we die, who we are and what we have done will be the most important things. Money and things stay here when we die. Robert says, Developing the Leader Within You with John Maxwell.
Good book. John Maxwell's a good guy. Actually, Chris Widener was mentored by him and Jim Rohn. So I definitely like him. Okay. Is there any more in the comments?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. So this is just for me to help you get started when you start working on your first principles, your vision, just questions to ask yourself. What are your strengths and weaknesses? You know, in this exercise, spend less amount of your time focusing on your weaknesses because everybody does it. They're like, I can't, and develop your strengths. If you're good at 5 things, be good at 5 things and do it well. Your weaknesses can be outsourced, automated. You could team up with somebody. I've done it. There's things I just can't do. I can't do SEO. I don't want to do SEO, so I team with somebody who can. The thought of writing content makes me sick, so I don't do it. It's just not for me. So find people that are good at what you aren't and team up with them. So the biggest question in this exercise is, what are your likes and dislikes? What are your passions? And it's very important that you really focus on what you like. So why are the following questions the most important? I guess it's a while ago that stuck with me. It says everything to me. If you do what you like, then you will never have a job again. You never will, because you'll love doing it. I was telling Tom, for me, when I see people go out with their boats and they put their boat on the trailer and then they have to drive the boat to the dock and they back up the boat, and I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of time. But they're happy to do it. And when they get on that boat, they're happy. They have no problem that they got in the water. Now, I think they're crazy, but they're happy because I'm going to rent the boat. But they're going to actually dock it and park and have to come back. But it's something they love to do, so they'll do it over and over again. So if you're going to create a job, find out what you like first. So it won't be a job. It'll be something you're passionate about and willing to do. You're willing to invest your time. So taking the time daily to work on your project won't feel like working on your project. It'll feel like something you just want to do. Do we have any questions so far? And mainly what I should say, are we getting this content? Maria, do we have any questions, or are they getting the content so far? Is there anything I need to go over again?
No questions until now, James.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. It's pretty much what I just said. Think about it. When you do what you love, it's easier for you to do it, and you'll see you're most apt to see it through. You'll follow to the end. If you start a project that you love doing, you're gonna follow through the end. So, going forward in this section, I'm going to reference to Eden a lot. And this is a book that I had no idea about until Tom brought it up. And now I'm going to take that personal development, and now we're going to go towards the business side of things, because most of you came on here to hear how to create a business. But I wanted to make sure that we touched base on you first, because you are the most important thing in your business. And if you read this book, it's going to talk about that a lot. All right? So there are 3 personalities within a business. You cannot be all 3. It is impossible because they conflict each other. So the most important thing to do is for you to have self-evaluation first and figure out where you fit in. So I have a panel. I'd like to get them on. I think it's Ron, Vince. There's 6 people. Miguel, can you mic up all 6 and we'll get started on this exercise?
Yeah. Just have to send the names.
It's in Skype. I sent it to the group.
Okay. Okay. Just continue, and I will do that.
Not a problem. So the first thing is, are you the entrepreneur? If so, what is an entrepreneur, and what is a job description? All right. The second one, are you the manager? What is the definition of manager? What's the job description? The third thing is the worker and the technician. Both kind of the same. What's the definition and what's the job description? And that's what I want the panel to talk about. They all 3 have very different personalities. They all 3 have very different views. One lives in the future, one lives in the present, one lives in the past. We'll talk about all 3. But in your business, you need to decide what you are, because you cannot be all 3. You can try, but if you try to be all 3, once you're tired, your business is tired. If you are your business, when you have an off day, your business has an off day. So these are the 3 aspects of your business that you will have to have in play.
Hi there, Vince.
Hey guys, how you doing?
It's Vince. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, you're a real trooper, James.
Thank you very much. I couldn't miss it. We hyped it up, so I better make it, or you'd be like this guy.
I know. Well, you're just a warrior, a guru warrior.
Please, I'm not a guru. Not yet. You know, when I get guru status, we'll all have a drink.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Hi there, Brian. I just muted you.
Hey, Ryan, you there?
No, it's Brown King.
Rollin, are you there? And then Samantha also.
Yeah, I'm checking all the names.
So Vince, since I have you here, what's your definition of an entrepreneur? What do you describe an entrepreneur? What do you think his job description is? Go ahead, Vince.
I started reading the book, and it's pretty good. You know, it's real good because I like to learn new things. And I'm more entrepreneurs to me is like someone who you dream to be.
There you go. You dream
someone,
to be?
Yeah, something out there that you want to be.
Okay.
Like you have to have a vision. You have to have a good idea.
Okay.
Someone that has great ideas, the vision to look at the big picture.
Okay. But does he actually do the work?
Bronwyn is saying that he can't hear you, so it might be his.
You can't hear me?
Somebody's turned on my mic.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good, Vince.
Okay. Mike has low output.
No problem. So we'll go with the 2 that are on right now. Who else is on?
It may be that Tom is on too, because
it's everyone.
It sounds like I'm on.
You are on.
Okay.
And your name, sir?
Tom Burlington.
Tom Burlington, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy you're on, and congratulations. You're doing a fantastic job here.
Thanks a lot. The man who called me a guru, man, I owe him a drink. So,
Well, if I call you guru, then you're responsible. But I think of you as a friend and a really smart guy that's doing your absolute best.
hey, thanks a lot, buddy. So how about you? Define entrepreneur to me. What's your definition of entrepreneur?
Oh, well, I agree that it's a person who has a vision of something important he'd like to accomplish, and it also includes a person willing to do whatever it takes to do the best they can to gather the resources together to implement it, and a discipline to know how much he can do himself, and to reach out to others and be grateful for that. So, and to be very persistent as well.
So my question to the panel is, but does the entrepreneur do the work? Is he the one that's actually going to do the work?
No.
No, he's not supposed to.
Okay.
We're just supposed to see, like, he's supposed to be a delegate.
Okay.
At least not after the beginning.
Okay. So Vince answered first on this one. Thom, you're up. The manager. What's the definition of a manager, and what's the job description?
The manager is the person who can implement the visions of the vision of the entrepreneur,
okay,
and is very well and is well organized to do it. He's a person that's organized and is capable of giving clear instructions to the people that are doing the work.
I can tell you guys read the book. I'm proud of both of you. Vince, you're up. What do you think?
The manager pretty much tells people what to do.
Okay. Okay. And how so? I mean, you say he's going to delegate, but how did he do that?
Well, he puts together processes and procedures, and pretty much maps it out for his team. You know, team builds his group. He motivates them. You know, he tries to get them to work. You know, he's pretty much leads the projects.
Okay. So far, so good. I'm liking it here.
Maybe there's one more thing that he does. It's sort of like he understands the vision, and he fills in the spaces that the practical spaces that have to be filled in to make it workable.
And let's reach out to the group. The group, what do they have? Who's an entrepreneur? What does that stand for? What's your definition of an entrepreneur? And the manager. Vince and Thom, very good job. Very good answers. I can tell
James,
you read the book. Go ahead.
James, from Florence, I'm getting who solves the problems, who is the problem solver. From Jim, I'm getting delegate work to people under him. From Asher, I'm getting the entrepreneur sets up the business.
Okay.
And that's what I've gotten so far.
Okay. Let's step into the worker.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. In terms of, for D. Shelby, in terms of Thom's mind maps, entrepreneur is the one making the maps and processing. Managing makes sure workers are following the maps and processes, and feedback loop for improvement. Workers are the ones who execute the map steps.
Okay. Okay. Let's go on to workers then. Definition for worker. Vince, you're up first this time. And job description.
A worker pretty much does all the work. He does everything that he was assigned to do, all the tasks that were assigned to him by the manager. He shows up for work. He works overtime when needed. He just wants to get the job done.
Hi, James. It's Matt.
Thom?
I'm the perfect worker
Hey,
technician. That's what I describe me trying to get to the manager and entrepreneur level. So.
Okay. So what's your definition? So what does the worker technician do?
The worker just does the grunt work, the actual physical component of a job that outputs a product, basically.
Okay. Tom, you're up.
Well, I think workers and technicians are similar in some ways and a little different in others. And it's true. They usually they have a skill set and they can learn skill sets, and they're specific and they receive instructions and they do it. But I think the kind of skills and instructions are a little different from between the worker and the technician. Technician is more highly trained, I guess, in some sense.
Yeah. And there was something that Matt said that I'm glad you said that, Matt. You said that the worker wants to be the manager, wants to be the entrepreneur. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. One of the easiest training that I've done, and because I've come from 9 to 5. I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I moved up the ranks pretty fast. And I can tell you the day that I knew that I was going to stop was my son was born. He was very sick, and he had an IV in his head. And the manager called me to make sure I was coming in the morning. I said, hey, my son is very sick. He has an IV in his head. He said, hey, make sure you come in the morning. So I looked at my wife and I said, I can guarantee you now that I will find a way to corporate America. All right? So I understand what you're saying, and we're going to touch base on that. In this whole series, we're going to touch base on that. And one of the easiest ways to get up to the managing aspect of it is learning how to delegate and how to give direction. And one thing that I've done with these businesses that I run now and when I train people is I have them record direction. So everybody in here, I hope, has taken Miguel's Facebook training. And I kind of was laughing. I got to watch more TV than I've watched in forever in this hospital. I'm telling you, I don't really watch much TV. And I saw a commercial for web.com, and they were offering free Facebook pages, they would monitor, and then after they created it, there'll be a monthly fee. And I was laughing because I said everybody in this group knows how to do exactly that. You know how to do it because you've been trained to do it. All right? So one thing you can do to start, if your idea is to be an entrepreneur and a manager, is now that Miguel has told you how to do it, do a video telling somebody else how to do it. Okay? Because eventually you're going to get people that are going to do all this for you. In my business now, people do it for me. I've stepped back. I've been sick and work is still going on because after I got into these webinars, I'm honest with that, I was not thinking like this until I got into Unlimited You Education and read the E-Myth and read the 4-Hour Workweek. But coming to these made me know that I needed to step back. I couldn't tell all my business. I had to step back, and I've done that. So one thing to do, if you want to get started, and this is for everybody out there, start recording directions. Everything you learn, record directions for somebody else, because eventually you will have someone else do it for you. So Matt, does that help?
That's a good way to say it.
The only question I would have to ask that, because I'm sure everybody else has the same question, if you're on a really, really limited budget, how do you get the extra help? I mean, Tom did a great start for me personally when he introduced me to Odesk. Mm-hmm. That was great as far as, because I got one of my websites to actually get preloaded now, and it's actually making a little bit more money thanks to that. But I'm still limited on the budget on the things that I want to do.
I'm glad you said that, and later on we're going to touch more in depth in that. But since you brought the question up, my friend, we'll talk. If you're good at Facebook, if you've learned a skill for Facebook, now you can barter. You have a skill that you can say, hey, if I do this, will you do this? All right, and people will. They will. They'll change with you. That's one way to get around cost. But the practice of recording directions should cost you nothing. If you've downloaded Screen-O-Matic, it should cost you nothing. The exercise is just get used to giving direction. Okay, because the time will come that you do have the money. As we start building this business process, we're going to go in now. So we're going to go into how to create a business from A to Z. But for right now, get into the practice, the discipline of giving direction. Because what if you had $1 million today? Could you give the direction as a manager from what you're saying no? So let's start that practice now so when you have it, you know exactly what to do with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm going to start doing that.
Hey, great. And so, I pose that question to everybody now on the panel. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And I just want to say, Mac, that this is the absolute best time in the world to start making great videos, and you can make a fortune doing that.
Well, I hope so.
You know,
And I can talk to you. I can tell you more. I mean, we know among us, we know quite a lot, but there's some really special things that are started that are happening now and will happen over the next few months.
Absolutely. And so you know why I'm telling you, Matt, just to get a given direction, because pretty soon then you could start doing YouTube videos that just tell people how to do something, and then you get somebody JVs who wants to put their advertisement on, or you do your own advertising on uh, what's it called, your section. They give you an area that's your area. So your office area, you can start doing your promotions. The idea is to go viral. So once that thing takes off and you got 500,000 followers, now you can advertise those people because everybody's looking for direction. How do I? And if you can answer that question, you solve the problem. So they want to listen to you. You become the authority figure. Does that make sense?
Here, I got a perfect question for that one then.
Okay.
I know I could make a YouTube video on something that I'm good at.
Okay.
Now, let's just take I'm technical background, great at trades and stuff like that, but and I can make a video for that, but it's got nothing to do with what I want to brand or sell or affiliate market in the as far as like from an affiliate network.
Okay.
And how do you combine the two? I guess that's where I'm trying to go.
If you were doing it, okay, what would you want to do a video on?
Well, I'm an electrician by trade for RF broadcasting. So I was kind of laughing earlier when you said you've watched more TV in your life than you have ever in the last 24 hours, because I watch TV for a living. That's my job.
You're a couch potato.
Well, technically, sort of, yeah. But I do it from a technical desk.
I'm just teasing.
I have 1,200 screens in front of me, and a big control room, and 50,000 kilowatt air conditioner to try and keep all those TVs cool. But yeah, and I could write a book and a story and everything about that on YouTube and do a video, but it's got nothing to do with, say, I want to sell car insurance. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay, so do you want to sell car? And you're going way ahead because we're going to be talking about when we get to craft. The C stands for craft, but that's fine.
Okay, well then I'll wait.
I'm gonna answer your question real quick because you brought up 5 different things. You said branding, you said selling, you said marketing, affiliate marketing, and I can make a YouTube video. So you're talking about 5 different things. Because if you were going to do a video, a structured video, then you wouldn't want to affiliate with somebody. You would want them to come on and sell your product or market your product for you. That's what you would turn that around. So I have this information I want to get out there. Anybody who signs up to get the whole training, I will pay you commission for it. You would reverse that. You wouldn't be signing up to be on someone else's affiliate program. You'd want to give the offer to people to affiliate with you so that they will sell your product for you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so but in this now I understand. Now I understand. Okay, I got a little sidetracked there for a minute. Okay.
Oh, you're fine. I mean, it's just because, and trust me, when this series is done, we're going to talk about that affiliating when you should do a program where you're bringing on people to market your product for you, because that cuts down your marketing budget. It's in this training. It's going to be in here. So I said, and I promised we'd take it slow, and I'm going through the basic principles right now. But once we're done with this, we're diving into business 100% afterwards. So,
hey, James, there's an old principle that says, "What you learn today, you can teach tomorrow."
There you go.
So you don't have to get worried about whether it's your electrician knowledge or what you learn today, you teach tomorrow.
Absolutely. And the one thing you learn is Facebook. And it's funny how many people don't know how to do a Facebook fan page. So you have something you can teach.
Yeah, like me too. Thanks, Miguel.
Yes, thank you, Miguel.
Miguel's.
You're welcome.
In this one little group, you've been empowered to do Facebook fan pages. Now get good at that. Because people, and that's exactly why I said you need to process it. You get in this thing and you hear about CPV and CPA and affiliate marketing and this new gadget, and I've got this tool that if you plug it in, you'll make $30,000. Come on, So you hear about all this, and you're chasing your tail. Which one should I do? Which one should I do? Stop! It's insane. You can't do all of them at once. Get good at one thing. If you're gonna do Facebook fan pages, get good at it. Get very good at it, because now you have a service you can offer, and people will pay you for it. I was laughing at web.com because I had, my leg was, they were doing the IV treatment, my leg was up, so I decided I'd call them. I just went on how much they were charging. $50 a month. I was laughing. I was just laughing. I couldn't stop. She's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing. It's the medicine. I'll call y'all back." So this is something you can do now. Miguel empowered you to be able to do that. So get good at that, and now you have a service to offer. Okay? Yeah, we went way off topic, but I wanted to answer your question. So
No, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
not a problem at all. So we're going to move forward. I'm going to give you some of the E-Myth definitions. The E-Myth says the entrepreneur is a dreamer, visionary. He lives in the future, not the present. He's a job creator, and that's the key word. An entrepreneur should be creating jobs. The term capitalism was based for entrepreneurs. When they failed to hold it, corporations took over. But entrepreneurs challenge status quo. They're always thinking that they can do it better. There's another way to do it. All right? The thought of working for someone makes him sick, and it just makes him sick because he knows his value now. Once you've crossed over the entrepreneur side, going back is not an option. And when you do go back, if you have to go back, it's with your head down, and you're like, "Oh, here we go." It's almost like knowing you're going back in serfdom. So you don't want to go there. All right, guys in the panel, do you understand that? Is there anything you would add?
Yeah, no, I kind of.
I get from Florence, amen.
Well, I understand it, but from my own point of view, I know that sometimes you have to really, really persist. So you might have to do some things for a short time in order to get you where you want to be. So,
you know what?
But that doesn't mean you're not an entrepreneur. That just means you find the way to be who you are. That's all.
I would have agreed with you about 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago, I've completely pushed 95% of my business out of my hand. And it took a lot of trust. It took a lot of me saying, "Oh," because I'm that guy. I mean, if I want something done, I want it done right. And I don't think they can do it right. But you know how I got them to do it right? I started recording videos. I started recording my standard. Here's what I want done. Pick up the box this way, bend your knees that way. That's what we get. We go to 9 to 5. So now I know why they do it. So I recorded videos that gave my direction. And once I did that, when somebody questioned, boop, watch that video. Boop, watch that video. The reference, now I have a table of contents where they can just reference the videos. Look at them and ask them questions because the answers are there. Then I have a nice little contract that says, please sign that you understood the video. So whenever there's a checks and balance, hey, why didn't you do this? Well, I didn't know. Well, video A says this, and you sign right here that you understood. So now you have something you can go back to. When you just tell somebody verbally, they always seem to randomly forget, but they don't do it. So that's when time, and I agree with you, sometimes do we have to step in? Yes, but I've eliminated that. I've eliminated the emergency buffer, because 9 times out of 10, it's not an emergency. Somebody else was trying to chime in. Who's talking? Was that Thom?
No, I already said it. I think that's what we were talking about.
Okay. But did that make sense, Vince?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it perfectly makes sense.
Is there anybody in the chat I'm missing, Maria?
Nope, everybody's good. Everybody's agreeing with you. Good stuff.
We're moving on. So the E-Myth defined the manager as being pragmatic, a realist. He needs order, likes structure, lives in the past. He's seen what's happened before. So when we come with this, hey, I want you to do this, he says, man, you're crazy. But that's what he believes. He loves the status quo because that's something he understands. It's measurable. He's seen it before. And he always seems to be cleaning up the entrepreneur's mess. That's what he calls it, the mess. Michael Gerber says, without the manager, there could be no business, no society. But without the entrepreneur, there would be no innovation. That's the key word. The entrepreneur is the innovator. The manager is the one who keeps it going. He's the one who keeps it running to make sure what the entrepreneur wants is done. But without that entrepreneur, there would be no innovator. There would be no innovation. I mean, everything would stay the way it was. If Ford did not challenge, hey, I don't want to ride a horse and buggy, there's a better way to do it, we wouldn't have an automobile. He was a visionary. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We're going to move on. The worker, technician. And I did two different, the E-Myth talks about a technician, but I put worker in there also. The worker bee. If you want something done right, he wants to do it himself, or she wants to do it himself. He's the doer. technicians live in the present. As long as there's work, he's happy. He likes comfortable workflow. To the technician, thinking is not working. I don't think about it. Just don't know what to do, and I'm going to do it. Doesn't trust the boss. The boss is always out to get him. Would rather be left alone and do the work without interruption. Matt, is any of this true, Matt?
Oh yeah, you can say that 2 times.
Without hesitation, Matt was like, "Hallelujah, you know me."
Yeah, you know me well. That's the problem that I'm facing. Basically, changing over in my private life. Just like, okay, I like doing the technical things, and I hate to admit it. I like writing that little bit of code, or I like, trying to add the toys to the website instead of, even though I know deep down I'm supposed to be outsourcing that, I'm trying to figure out how to do both, and it can't be done. It can't be done.
Oh, we'll be talking, trust me, later on towards the end, the O in action's outsourcing, so we'll be talking about outsourcing. But I'm glad you said that. I want to make sure that this wasn't off, and I'm not going to lie, I have not punched the clock in a long time. So the last real job, we'll call it that, real job I had was insurance adjusting during Sandy. I trained adjusters, and they were so backlogged, they asked me to go out, and it was weird. And you know, this is what happens when you become an entrepreneur. I had a team lead call me when I was at lunch, or excuse me, at dinner. It was 8 p.m. and he called me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm at dinner." He said, "Well, I need to talk to you." I said, "No, I'm at dinner." He said, "I need to talk to him." And it had been so long since somebody had done that to me. I was like, "What? I'm gonna call you back." So I hung up on him, and so everybody was like, "Man, I can't believe you did that." I was like, "Well, that's the only thing I know to do." so I asked that because it's been a while since I've been here, and that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't make me any different than anybody else, but it's been a while since I've been, and that's why I asked that. But that's the mindset. So if you don't trust the boss, and the entrepreneur is a visionary, you can't be all three in your business. That's what it comes down to. You don't have enough time. If you're doing the work, you can't be going to the seminar that teaches you how to do it better. If you're doing the work, you're not going to manage yourself. Are you going to argue with yourself? Hey, should I use this tool? No, you shouldn't use that tool. Why need you to be over there? If you did that, we think you're crazy. That's just what it is. If I see you out in the garage arguing with yourself how to hammer the nail in, I'm calling 911 because there's something wrong with you. Am I right, guys?
You're very funny, James. Anyway.
I mean, but do you agree? If you saw Matt in the garage arguing with himself about how to nail a nail in the wall, would you not want to seek help? I'm just saying. So you can't be all of them. Go ahead, Maria. Maria?
I said I would call an ambulance.
Yeah, so you can't be all of them. So this is why most businesses fail, and the E-Myth talks about that, because people try to be all three, and it's a raging battle that they can't win. It's a battle that they lost before they started it. So if you're really wanting to do a business from ground up, I beg you, get the E-Myth. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. The minute that Tom gave me that, told me about that book, and I read it, it changed my business. It's changed our philosophy. I mean, it's the first time in my business that we have a corporate client that reached out to us. I've always done small businesses. I'm getting my first corporate client because of the E-Myth teaching. So please, I implore you to go get that book.
Say the name of it again.
E-Myth Revisited.
Oh, the E-Myth. Okay.
Revisited. Okay. All right. So now finances. This is what everybody wants to know. In creating your business, you have to have some strategy in place. After identifying who you are and what role you'll play in your business structure, you have to move to creating a business structure. First question is ask what tools do you need? Will you need employees? If so, define their roles. Will you JV or swap services? Why am I asking these questions? If your only goal is, well, James, I want to make money, I'm telling you, you started bad. So here's my question to you. On the panel in the chat box, please give me massive participation. How many of you are here because you just want to make money?
No.
Or your goal is to make supplemental income?
Well, I'd like a business that actually does both.
I like to add value and be successful and be a mentor, and the money will come. The money will definitely come.
See, that's a different attitude. I like that one. But it's the soul. Go ahead.
That's a good one.
So to say starting a business, I just want to make money, or my goal is to supplement your goal is to supplement your income. If that's the only goal, then there's no foundation. Because I'm going to do this exercise right now. Maria, how many people are in the chat?
I have got 46 people in chat.
Okay. All out of the 46, how many told you that they just want to make money and they want to supplement their income?
I've got a couple, and I've got about 3 people that want to do both, and I have a couple that, yes, they do want to make money.
Okay. If that's the way you start your business, it's in trouble because it's not measurable and it's not defined. So
you can't live without some money.
By this definition, if you just want to make money online, everybody said they just want to make money. I'm going to give you a penny. Everybody said if they said both, I'm going to give you 2 pennies. By definition, you made money. By definition, you supplement your income. But can you live on 2 pennies is the question, or 1 penny? No. But if that was your goal, then anytime you start a business, as long as it's making something, you're happy. It's not measurable. It's not defined. We need to define. We need something we can define before we can say that this is my goal. So we're going to move on forward. As I said, it's unmeasurable and unsustainable if you just say those two statements. And so you know, most businesses that I go to consult say that. They say that to me. I'm like, well, define that. How can we work with that? So I guess we should segue into this. How much does one need? Or better yet, a better question would be, what's your definition of wealth? Panel, I bring that to you, and everybody in the group, please, I need this, because this is going to help me going forward. I have to know your mind state. So how much does somebody need to survive in your mind, and what is your definition of wealth? What would make you in your head say, I am wealthy, I'm successful, I'm here?
Hey James, I can answer that one, because I've actually, when Tom told us to do the goal levels, the 30,000 to 50,000, I actually marked that down. I said that the actual level that would make me comfortable would be double what I have today, because simply it would be enough to put the savings in retirement. It would I could actually live my lifestyle that I want to live comfortably, and that's not even like a millionaire status or something ridiculous. That's setting an honest goal, saying this is what I would need to to be happy, still working, and enjoy. And at this point, I'd be enjoying work, because in general, I don't want to quit work. I just want to enjoy my work, and still have a healthy family and a good lifestyle.
Okay.
I would have to agree. I would definitely agree with you, Matt. I just want financial freedom to do whatever I want.
That'd be a good word for it. Thank you. Financial freedom.
Yeah, I want to do whatever I want.
Financial freedom is still not defined or measurable. There has to be that. People like to say that number. There has to be something you can weigh and measure.
The actual value number?
Oh, a number?
No.
Oh, the number? That's 150,000 a year. If I could hit that, that would be comfortable.
Okay. Somebody else?
And that's not a lot in today's data for what I understand.
Personally, I think financial freedom is in your mind.
Exactly.
And so it can vary all over the map. But I can tell you, for me, that it includes no debt.
Okay.
Or no unproductive debt.
Now, unproductive debt is measurable. That's in a measurable equation. That I get. Okay. Vince, what you got? Come on, Vinny, what you got?
Well, I already said financial freedom, and I got shut down. But
no.
No, I'd have to, if you want to.
It is what it is for you, Vince, not for us.
But like 200,000 a year is perfect for me.
Okay. Maria, what we get in the chat box?
I'm getting from Florence, wealth and prosperity is all areas of life. From Jim, I'm getting enough money to do whatever I want, whenever I want. Katinka said self-sufficiency and the art of good living. Suzette said 85 people have half of the world's wealth. Dennis says, I think it's Dennis, I'm sorry if I said your name, 500K a year. I got Michael that says freedom in every area of my life, not being bound to a job. Okay. I got from Rose to make $9 million. That's the amount insurance that I need to return for a return 65 years of age and to live another 20 years. From Errol, I got having all the stuff that I need, that then most of what I want. Asher says wealth is having freedom. Freedom is whatever that means to the individual.
Okay.
D. Shelby says wealth is X times your expense of the lifestyle you want, where X depends on your comfort level.
There's a measurable one. That's measurable.
Yep. Mrs. BK says wealth would give me freedom, $10,000 a month. Michael Gaines says $100,000 a year minimum.
Okay.
And Asher says $1 million per day. Love it. Way to reach out. Love that. Way to reach out.
So,
yeah.
Go on. Is there more?
Yeah, there's a couple more. There, Carol says financial freedom. Feder says I want positive cash flow. Alex says enough money to live.
Okay. You know what's funny when this question's asked? I'm going to go into a theory that's measurable. It's called the Rockefeller theory. We're going to go over that. But somebody told me most people will give you a definition of a lifestyle. They're not going to really give you a defined. When I say defined, I mean something you can measure and weigh. You can say, okay, now I know that I'm wealthy. Because giving people money only makes them more what they are. And I didn't believe that at first. And the person who told me this was Mark Cuban. So anything he says, I listen to. He said, James, if I gave somebody $1 million who just spends money, he's just going to spend more. That's all he's going to do, and he'll go broke. Because that's what he does. If I gave somebody $1 million as an investor, he's going to invest it. If I gave somebody $1 million as a philanthropist, he'd be a bigger philanthropist. So the dollar amount is irrelevant in this equation, because if there's no system that you have structure to do with the money when you get it, you have a problem. So giving a dollar amount, I want $1 million a day, great. What typically happens, you get $1 million, the car changes, the house changes, and you live to your means. I mean, most Americans are one paycheck away from bankruptcy. It's crazy. One paycheck away from bankruptcy. You're talking about doctors and lawyers who make $250,000 a year who file bankruptcy. So that number isn't really what you should focus on. So let's move on to what you should. The Rockefellers had a different way of theory of wealth. They said if you could live on 30%, and you could save 30%, and you can invest 30%, and tithe or give to charity 10%, you by definition are wealthy. Now that's measurable. If you can live on 30%, save 30%, invest 30%, at the end of the year you're 2 years ahead. You're 2 years ahead. That number, and it doesn't matter what number it is now. It could be $5,000. If you're able to do it $5,000, then you're able to do $5,000. If you're able to do it $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, whenever you can live on 30, 30, 30, 10, by the Rockefellers' definition, you are wealthy. Does that make sense, guys?
It's pretty close.
Say again?
So I said 5 times the value I believe I am giving, keep what I want, do good with the balance. So for me, I'm more likely to do a lot more good than keeping very much that I want. But that's so 5 times. That's pretty close to Rockefellers.
Hey man, and it's not bad company to be in. And guys, so you know, they're going to be prepping me pretty soon. I got about 15 more minutes, and I want to leave time for questions. So I'm going to wrap up this portion. If I would have done this when I left corporate America, I would have been happy. If I would have started my business and waited to, and here's what I would advise. And I'm going to advise to you what I didn't do. If you can't do that now, that's fine. When the new income comes in from your new business that's online or offline, whatever it may be, start doing it that way. Take 30% and add that. If you're saying I want to supplement it. Put 30% of that into savings, 30% you invest back into your business, and 10% into charity. If you can start working that discipline with the new money coming in, do you see that discipline is going to be built over time? And once you get to the point where you're like, well, wow, I'm giving myself 30% of money coming in from this new revenue source, and I'm able to sustain myself, well, then at that point you can say, well, I can quit my job. I can leave my job. And you won't be afraid of having to go back to it. Because if you can do this for a year, literally, you're 2 years ahead. I don't know a lot of Americans who are 2 years ahead. I just don't know them. So if you do, God bless you. I don't. Most people I know are a paycheck away from broke, and they're very scared about losing their job. They're in fear of it. They're looking for something. So does that make sense, guys?
Sure does.
Absolutely.
Is that a good plan?
It's a very
Yes.
good.
Very good. Good balance.
Okay, guys.
Lots of yeses here on the.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Maria. So I'm opening up the end to just question and answering. We said an hour. It is an hour, but I'm going to give 15 minutes to answering because they're going to prep me after that. So let's talk, man. Any questions for me? Because next week, so you know, let me segue. We're going into the craft of online marketing and marketing, and we're going into the 4 T's. So pre-test, testing, tracking, and why they're important. We're going to go into that on the next one. So we're going to start creating a business. This one was to give you some strategies, some ideas, some concepts for you to take some time to look at you. Thank you for the panel who came on and gave their advice and their opinions. And Vince, don't be mad at me. I didn't shoot you down. I didn't shoot you down. We're all friends.
I'm with you, Vince.
Yeah, Matt.
Wow, look at me. You'll make me feel bad over here. So you know, it was just to give some concepts, some ideas. My challenge to you, if you haven't done the 30,000 people, do it. Just do it. Trust me, there's so much life-changing things that will come out of it. I'm going to be quiet now and open up for questions. The panel or anybody in the chat box, I'm here. Panel, do you have any questions?
I'm open too, guys. So if anybody has any questions, type them into me, and I'll share with James.
So I guess the question number one would be, James, you're doing this based on, it doesn't matter what you make on the, like for me, for example, I put my regular living aside, meaning like the effort I'm trying to put towards is I want to work for myself eventually. So using this theory that you've put here, let's just say tomorrow I made $10. I'm going to be.
I want to make sure I heard you right. You want to work for yourself, or you want to own your own business?
Well, I want to own my own business.
That's better. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And basically, let's just say if I made $10 tomorrow, you're starting with that. So $3 I put towards food and whatever, and $3 would go to the business bank account, and $3 would go to reinvesting into the business, and then the dollar would go to charity, right? Is that what you're basing it? Like continuing, and then that would grow. Is that the idea?
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. If you give my son $1, he's going to ask for change. Because I've taught him this at a young age. He's going to ask for change. He already knows. He never comes to, Daddy, I want. I'm like, well, how much is in your 30% pile? Then he'll like, oh, there's enough. And that's how he knows that. So he, by himself, is investing and saving from this exercise. It's a lifestyle. But I will tell you guys, I'm a guru when I can do this 100%. I can't do it 100% now, but I'm getting close.
Okay.
Are there any
James,
questions?
Errol says thank you for coming. Thank you, Tom, for finding. Whoops, sorry, I lost the question. Let me get it back here. I'm sorry. Let's see. Not doing my job very well. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Tom, for finding us such a dynamic presenter. Katika says the Rockefeller principle, 30% invested back into the business or invest for yourself personally. I guess that was a question. Sorry.
That's a good question. It's up to you what you invest in. I mean, he never defined what to invest in. You can invest in your business. In this situation, here's what happens. Here's what I tell most people. They ask me that question directly. Hey, you have tools you pay for to be an online marketer. This class costs you money, right? So I would say take that 30% and make sure you start paying those bills. Pay the business bills for your online marketing, because now it is not a burden on your income from your job. Now that 30% looks a little bit higher because you're taking 30% and taking away all the business expenses, and your paycheck becomes bigger now because you don't have to invest your money back into your business. Does that make sense?
Yep.
James?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Rockefeller theory said that the 30% you save is supposed to be in liquid assets.
Yep.
And the 30% you invest is long-term assets, whether that's long-term into your business or long-term into the market or long-term into real estate, whatever it is that you're dealing with. That's what they referred to as investment. But they always thought that you should maintain 30% in the event that should be liquid in the event that you had 30% that you lost.
You should have some, in the capital market, in the market, we call it, your book value. If your book value is that 30%, you're fine. Because if anything went down, you could liquidate and have that 30% there. Any other questions, guys?
I've got a couple here, James. One is kind of off topic, but I'm going to go ahead and share it anyway. Asher asked, I need help with simple steps with working with outsourcers. I've had so many problems, and I need to know little things. For example, if you're hiring someone to send emails, do they send up a new email to use the hirer's email, or use the outsourcer's own email? This is just an example of something I need to know when outsourcing.
I'll answer that question. I have a relationship. When I say relationship, I've had time with my outsourcers, so I trust them. They have access to everything. Even my PayPal account now, they have access to it. Everything. That came with time. I can just give it to them. So that's a hard question to ask, because I know the relationship where you stand with your outsourcer. Giving access to your email is fine. If you have a trust issue or a trust barrier, create a new account that you can log into and allow them to use that account. So create a new account that you have access to and the outsourcer. The time difference helps you out there. You're never going to be on at the same time. When you're sleeping, they're on. When you wake up, they're not. And you can actually set that rule. Record a video saying your time allotment to be in this email is this time to this time. So you never have you both on at the same time and Google kicks you off.
I would have to back you up on that one. I do the same thing with my outsourcers.
Okay. Hopefully, did that answer his question? Hopefully that did. And so you know.
I hope so.
And let him know. So O stands in action. O is outsourcing. So we will be talking about outsourcing in the series.
Okay. So Asher, if that answered your question, if you'll just put it in the chat here, just make sure that we got it okay. And then I've got some questions in regards to, James, could you repeat the last statement you made that you asked for our response? Also, for me, I would tithe 30% and invest 10% because I would feel that being charitable would make me feel better as a person than investing when I'm already saving 30%. That was from Rose.
Okay. Saving money. Here's why you want to invest and not just save. If you save money, the interest rate is going to be awful. So inflation catches up with your savings, and eventually your savings become new because you're playing a game of catch up. So inflation's going to catch you. Inflation's higher than your interest. That's what I'm saying. They're not giving out interest. Your investment is another backup. You need to have another backup, and that investment's your backup. So tithing, that was their definition. Like I said, they just wanted you to be covered in all angles. Hopefully that made sense.
So I've got another one. This is from Mrs. BK. When you're starting out, you start out as an entrepreneur, the manager, and the tech. So what steps do you take to get to the entrepreneur?
Your first step really should be creating your operation manual and defining your positions. You need to define what positions you're going to have, and I know you can't hire them now, but you have to build a business like you had money. So when you sit down and build a business, don't think like this is all the money I have and I can't pay somebody. That's fine, but later on you can. So you start making positions now. You can send it a marketing director, a finance director, accounts receivable, accounts. Oh my goodness, what's the other account, girl? Accounts receivable and accounts
payable.
There you go, accounts payable. There's the team helping me out. So you sit down, you start drawing that, and give them job descriptions, and start recording videos on what you want them to do. All right, have that ready so when you need to find somebody, you already have something to hand them. Start creating that operation manual. That's where you start, and in that you have to define what the business is. What's the business going to do? What's its objective? So you technically in the beginning you're looking at all of it and saying here's all the ingredients of the pie, and here's how we put them together. Hopefully that makes sense. And that question needs a longer response, but I summed it up, and hopefully that made sense.
Good.
I just have a question myself too, or maybe a statement more than a question. It's Tom.
Go on, man.
Okay, so the Rockefeller theory of wealth that you have here is, well, it's a good place to start from, but we're not being entirely clear about what the word wealth means. It means assets, compared to what your income is, and compared to what cash flow is. You can keep those two together. So this works for cash income and cash flow, but how you deal with your assets probably depends a lot on the kind of assets you have.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay. Assets being the investment part?
Well, no, it's the like wealth means like all the things that you own and all the debts that you have, and what is the difference, like positive or negative, and how much is it, right? So that's one thing that happens over years, right? Over your life. But then the 30% you live on, that could be out of your revenues, you know, your net revenues today. If you're working, it's your salary. 30% of that, 30% you save, 30% you invest, and I presume all this is after tax. So, you know, how you adjust that depends a lot on your status in the world today.
That's why they left it open.
Yeah.
I mean, you're honing in, but it's meant to be open for a reason. And I like this equation because you adjust with the dollars you have. The best life I had was when I was making $1,000 a month, living in Mexico as a doggone Mexican Backstreet Boy. That's why I was in a boy band, and I lived better than I've ever lived. Had a nice house, had a maid. I mean, I didn't pay for anything. I lived best with $1,000. So the money is irrelevant. It depends on you're absolutely right. It depends on a lot where you're at. You know, where you live in the United States of America. You can buy a house in Texas for a lot cheaper than up north, hands down. So absolutely, there's no argument there. But they left it open for that reason. You adjust it to where you're at now. And investment can be, as you said, real estate, something tangible. It doesn't have to be. The investment's up to you. And they left that open. They wanted it to be long term, but in this analogy, it's up to you guys. Maria, was there anybody else?
First off, I just want to say, Asher, I must have called Asher a male. I apologize that you're a female. I'm very sorry. And yes, we did answer Asher's question correctly. And then Alex had a question, and I'll try to say it as he's put it. I try to do something in the internet and understood everything what I did. I try to do Facebook fan pages and promote affiliate products. So what I have to do, I think what was supposed to be said was, what do I have to do to start making money online from the internet?
Next class, mind you, this class was just to bring some concepts. The next class talks about the craft. So we're going to be talking about what is a marketer, what's an online marketer, and then all the things you need before you even start trying to sell an affiliate product. So we're going to go into testing and tracking, which makes me laugh because some people think the words are different, and some people call tracking when it should be testing and vice versa. So next week, when we give this webinar, it's honing in on that. Today was mainly focused on some self-acknowledgement and just giving ourselves something that's measurable. Something that's measurable. So that was the purpose of this work. The next one's going to be more in depth. It's going to be more in what he wants. We're going to go into that. How I test, how I track. I want to know what's funny to me is there's so much free software out there, we don't use it. So testing is one thing, but I want to know where they went on my site. I want to know what they did. Well, in the next webinar, we're going to talk about that. There's software that's free that will tell you exactly what somebody clicked, how far they got along in the process, and when they left your page. Now, that's powerful because you could adjust that. So I'm not sure what he's doing now, but later on throughout this webinar, we're going to talk about that. I think I can help him out.
That sounds great. He says thanks a lot.
Hey, no problem at all. Guys, they're about to scrub me down. Is there any other questions before I get off? And hopefully, that didn't sound good either. You guys stop.
Are you getting a peg leg?
Well, hopefully this was helpful.
Scrub you down. So what? Tell us about this scrubbing down now. Is this like a massage or what?
Wow.
This is the rewards of being the guru? Is that the way it works?
Pick
These
on
are
James
the French
out right
benefits.
Hopefully, guys, it was helpful. I'm a passionate guy, and I do get a little emotional. So hopefully you guys understood. Is this the direction you guys want me to go? I mean, I'm leaving that to you guys. You tell me how this
James, everybody is saying thank you very much. Good luck on your operation. Well done, James. Thanks for such a great webinar, and everybody's thinking about you.
Thanks so much, guys. Well, next week, Wednesday, we're going to go further into it. We're going to be talking about our craft, and we're going to be talking about the 4 T's. So I look forward to it. Thank you so much, Maria, for helping me out. Miguel, also, thank you for helping me out. Tom, I know he's not on anymore, but thank him also. Hamish, you're awesome. Guys, have a wonderful night, wherever you are, day, night. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next webinar.
Bye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
The organ